All right, everybody. My name is Michael Carpenter. We're here for another episode of The Mob, which stands for Marketing Online Businesses. I have my friend Chris Allen here with Shoot Your Shot. Very excited. We're going to have a conversation about building and monetizing communities and how to grow your business with that. So excited to have you, man.
Man, thanks for making a phone call. I'm here.
Yeah. So the reason I had the idea to have this conversation is because I saw a Facebook post that you posted the other day.
Okay.
And your Facebook post was, how do you help create community? And I love that because I think it started a conversation in the comments. People were giving their thoughts. And so I was like, I want to dissect and talk more about that. And part of my business model is I help entrepreneurs build and monetize online communities to sell their coaching programs or the digital products. I'm really invested in the idea of taking an online community, getting people and put them in a space to connect with each other, but also to monetize the community and make money, right? So that's ultimately what I want to talk about this conversation, kind of go there and we can talk about that. But first, I want you to talk about your community, Shoot Your Shot, and the different things you're doing. Tell people how that works and why you asked that question.
Okay, for sure. I started Shoot Your Shot in about 2017. So when I first started, my background is in photography, videography, just working with a whole lot of people. One thing that I noticed when I would engage with them, events don't start when the lights come on. Events start when people park their cars and walk through the door.
Yeah.
And so being behind the camera, you are a natural people watcher.
Mm-hmm.
And so just watching how people engage, I saw a need for education. I was like, what do I know? What's a skill that we may take for granted because we've gotten good, we've invested in ourselves, but I can use that to help the people that are around me.
Mm-hmm.
So as far as community goes, I always like the idea of, I worked with a lot of different groups of people, to me, a lot of different communities. And my goal is to transform people's idea and relationship with content and community. How is combining the two, teaching people when you learn something. I think we were talking off camera, when you learn something, it's just an exciting feeling to learn. You feel empowered.
Yeah.
So my goal is to empower youth, adults, and people of all ages that are everyday consumers of technology. So you may just have a phone you like playing. What's some of the names, some of the games on your phone?
I don't really have any games on my phone, but I got a whole bunch of apps, man. I got a ton of stuff. I got Google Docs, I got Maps, Bills, YouTube TV,
Exactly.
FastPass. Yeah.
And when I ask a kid, what games does he have on his phone, they open up like a light bulb and they start telling me. So I don't start with, you need to be a photographer. You need to learn how to. I just feel like in 2023, on this side of society, it's just a fundamental skill set that all people should know how to do.
Okay.
When we were coming along, I don't know how old you are. We're not putting our ages out there, but we had to learn keyboarding. We had to learn how to Microsoft Word, how do you do a spreadsheet, because we were using these skills in our jobs that we go to when we got older. Well, kids, now media is everything. They need to know how to brand themselves, marketing, social media marketing, what not to post. This can go with you for a long time. So I just feel like photography, videography, the things that our phone allows us to do, it's a fundamental skill to know how to do it quickly and without making it a big drawn out situation.
Okay, so Shoot Your Shot, can you describe? So Shoot Your Shot is community. Y'all teach people how to do photography and videography with their phone, right?
Yeah, that's the start of it.
Okay, yeah. Can you explain that real quick? Just like that real briefly, like that.
Okay,
part
for
of it?
sure. Shoot Your Shot, I trademarked it as an interactive workshop and experience because everybody in the room has their own experience. And my job is to bring in educators, instructors to be available because even I learn new things. So I created Shoot Your Shot as just a canvas of learning and providing people a fun experience because I feel like people are more open to learn and receive that information versus putting them in a classroom with that classroom mentality.
Y'all teach them about video photography. Can you explain that?
Okay, so we teach them how to take pictures. We teach them the importance of cleaning your lens. I start there because it's something that they can do. I teach them how to shoot content from short form content like Reels and TikToks, the technical side, but the empowerment part is let's create it right here at the event. Not only do we create it at Shoot Your Shot, we actually post live at Shoot Your Shot to their social media. What happens is people say, oh, Michael, I didn't know Michael. I may have known, we may go way back, but that picture that we post is no longer just a selfie where we're having fun at an event. It's a way to network and open doors. I want to work with them. I don't know what they're working on, but it looks like it's engagement. It gets that conversation going. That's my community creating, and
I love that.
The experience is fun.
Yeah, and I love that in terms of community. I think the purpose of an online community is to create conversation. And if you want to get more sales in your business, you have to have more conversations, right? And that's why we create content. Content is a way to create a conversation. If you're on Instagram, it's a way for your audience to engage with you in the comment section or the DMs.
Right.
But we want to take it a step further, right? Because just liking a post, just commenting on a post doesn't necessarily lead to your business growing, right? Okay, creating a space, like a physical space. So I know you started off doing live events, networking events. I think those are so impactful. So it gets people in the room, like at a networking event,
right,
connecting or networking. But then the next step is, okay, the sales process, right? So an online community is basically a microcosm of a real life networking event, right? You put your community in a defined space. So I like to use Facebook groups or group chats and get people who have a common goal. Hey, what are we here for? What are we in this group chat, in this Facebook group to learn? I love when you talk about education. Hey, let's teach them something and nurture them by teaching them. But they're in a defined space. And then once they're in that space, we're nurturing, offering, and then we're selling our service or our product to them. And we're doing that just simply through conversation. So it doesn't have to be salesy. It's, hey, let's just have a conversation. What is the need that you have? And let's talk about it within that community. Yeah.
Because it's almost impossible to just assume that you know someone's need without listening, asking the right questions that allow them to tell you their pain points and their problems. So I don't even like the word networking events because of the bad name that it tends to get of, I'm there to sell you something right off the bat. No, let's talk, have a conversation. We may end up being friends versus possibly doing business together. We don't know until the conversation is had.
Right.
So my take on it is sharing, what is social media besides starting off as pictures and videos, but now making it more complex is understanding and breaking down the conversation and engagement. So I rock with a ton of content creators that teach strategy, that are helping brands by coming up with strategies to create engagement and conversations to bring those people to your business, increasing your bottom line. That's on the business side.
Yeah, so let's talk about that, because I think the most, like we talked about earlier, the number one way to get more sales in your business is to create conversations within the online community. I think that is the number one business hack in 2023 that a lot of businesses are missing out on. The way you actually create those conversations and get the energy happening within your community is content, right? There's got to be an engine. There's got to be something to do. So talk about your content philosophy. How do you take content and make community out of it?
Okay. Because if people go to my social media sites, they may say, he doesn't have a lot of reels or TikToks. But for me, I've done that. So I've created content for all of my clients and what they do because they already have communities and fan bases out there. It's blessed me so much. It's blessed me to travel the country doing just that with my iPhone. But for myself, now we're looking at, okay, I want to stay authentic. I teach kids and adults authenticity and originality. Not do something because it sounds good, not because it's a trend. I like to think of myself as a trendsetter. Bring your phone to my events, make sure it's charged. They're going to start laughing. And I used to start a conversation off of two things. Do you have an Android or an iPhone? And people automatically get ready to think that I'm about to go in on the Androids. I don't. I started with an iPhone 6 or 7 back in the day. I had it for way longer than I needed it. But I used it. That one phone made me the most money than just my camera, anything else, because it was always on me, and you can get vantage points that you couldn't get with a big professional video camera, right? I was at City Hall downtown, and I saw Channel 2. They were there for a big press conference. The news stations, media stations have professional cameras, $10,000 cameras. Right next to that big giant camera was a little boy who was like 8 or 9 years old with a cell phone, right next to the news media capturing content. The most powerful picture that I saw was because he does not know what the videographer knows for Channel 2, Channel 13. He's getting content with a little phone. It wasn't an iPhone, and I don't think it was a Samsung. It does not matter. That's my philosophy, is use what you have and get started. And that's the whole premise of shoot your shot, is take action. Don't wait till it's perfect.
Yeah.
Would you agree with creating content? We want it to be perfect. It's not. There's no such thing as perfection.
Right.
But we want to get the point across of our narrative that we want to send off to our communities.
Yeah, I love that. So really using content, use what you have to create content. And I like how you mentioned you partner with your clients' brands. So being able to disseminate your content, even in other people's communities. It's like you don't have your own community. You can use your content and your storytelling narrative or your business message and connect with other people's audiences. So that's another growth hack there too, is, hey, if you don't have your own, work with somebody who already has one, right? Make sure you're adding value to their community and you're not trying to take advantage of them.
Absolutely.
That's another one that I think people can do. So if you have an online Facebook group, go join other people's Facebook groups, go join other people's chats, add value to their audience, and that eventually will return it back to you. And I think you've done that. I see you partner with a whole bunch of people. I'm like, man, who all does Chris know? You know everybody, right? Because you're partnering with everybody. So
that's exactly what's happening. Yeah. That's exactly what's happening. And usually I'll see you talk to somebody and I'm like, oh, you right behind me or you've already talked to them as well, which just tells me that we're working in our city, we're moving around. And I love it. I love to see it.
Yeah, I love that. So why did you ask that question as far as how to help create community? Why were you asking your Facebook community about that specific question? How do you help create community? Why did you ask that question?
I like to ask questions on my social media that forces people to think about the answer. It's not just an everyday conversation that everybody's had. I want them to look inside internally to say, hey, how do I help create community? How do I contribute to someone else's community? It's important because I feel like we all have a responsibility to, again, we're not on earth forever. What do you know that can possibly help whoever? And I figure like for me, it's my experiences in networking. It's my experiences with my technical skills. That's why I started an after school program teaching it. In the beginning, I didn't see the importance. I was like, oh, it's just a camera and it's photography. It's a million photographers out here. But it's kids that's never touched a camera in their life. They haven't had access to it. So I asked that question to literally challenge people to think, how can I be of service versus what can I take from a community?
Yeah, that's so impactful. Yeah, so I think when you're building an online community for your business, it's important to build it in a way where people want to contribute their energy. I love how you said, because people are just coming and taking from you. That's exhausting. You're never going to reach your objective. We believe in adding a lot of value to our online communities and understanding what are the pain points that are in that community. So if everyone's in there for a common goal, trying to learn a common thing, it's like, let's add education, let's teach them, let's add value to them, let's teach them our system. And then when they need more, and they're like, okay, listen, I can create an awesome video for me. You know what I mean? Now it's okay, now we're at a sales conversation, right? Or I can do this. Now it's a sales conversation. So I think that's really important. And I'm glad you started that conversation. I think more people need to think about, where is my community? Because I think a lot of business owners have ecosystems already. Like if you've been in business more than 4 or 5 years, you have a ton of people who know you, who work with you. So these people orbiting around you, but you got to figure out, how do I get them to orbit in a group that I have control over and I can connect with them? You know what I mean? And so that's not manipulative at all. That's simply serving your community, is putting your community in a place where you can serve them, but then also other people in the community can serve them. There's a lot of value in that. And so that's something that I'm really passionate about helping my clients create, is that kind of community where you can actually sell things to people in a way that's genuinely helping them. And genuinely making them feel like they're being served by you and by the rest of the community. So
it's a fine balance there too. Because I make sure, hey, this isn't about me. Even though you're the voice and you're kicking it off, there's still a fine balance in that, right? Because you do still have an offer. You do have a service that can improve the lives of people, whether it's through products or services. So that's like one of my challenges is, I think we mentioned, it's monetizing it, because it's so pure. It's what you see online with my brand, Shoot Your Shot. It's still in a pure state of mind. I always invite podcasters to come that's in alignment with the theme. So if it's real estate, this person already interviews people in that industry. And it's not just podcasters. If it makes sense, come bring that energy there and build it out. But I'm creating the atmosphere for it. Does it make sense?
Yeah, it makes total sense. Yeah, and I hear that. Yeah, you want to keep that purity. You don't want people to feel like they're being targeted or anything like that. So I think it's just, let's create a space for conversation. Let's create a space for connection. Within that connection, whatever's supposed to happen out of that will come out of that, right?
And what's even better, if I can make everybody around me more money, their bottom line in business, because we're talking about business, then I feel my value. I can walk out comfortable and proud that I did that for somebody else. Period.
Cool. All right. As we close out, how can people find out more about Shoot Your Shot? So you guys are basically a content creation agency, and or educator.
Edutainment. Yeah, I love those two words. On my Facebook page, myself under Christopher Allen, and we're My Shoot Your Shot on Instagram. So I put a lot of information out there too.
Yeah. Love it. I mean, you can teach people, kids, grown, adults, anybody how to use their phone to create content, grow their business.
So this Shoot Your Shot is specifically for adults, because the way adults learn is different from kids. You didn't ask me this question, But as an adult, sometimes it's not about business. It's more about an intimate experience and connection. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
Because we're sold to every day, all day. If you're online on social media, we're being sold to every day. Can't consume all of that content. But I fill in the gap of you might just need a hug or you might just need to let your hair down. The selling is going to do itself in my event. But as far as pitching a class or this particular shoot your shot is not for me to do that. Down the line, depending on your interests, I'll have somewhere for you to go to do that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes total sense. Yeah, that's so organic. It's so healthy. It's not sleazy. It's just like using content to create community. And I think that, what was that slogan that you said earlier? That
create content, create community.
Yeah, create content, create community.
Because I went interchangeably. Creating content creates community. It is. People like shooting skits and things like that. You can do it by yourself, but when you're working with a team, you like, man, we got it done fast. And you start realizing, let's do it again. Let's come back. Let's get more people. And what are you doing? You are creating community.
Yeah,
so
love it.
It's my philosophy.
Awesome. Thanks for coming on today, man.
Thanks. I hope you got something.
Yes, sir.